I watched my father's manicured fingers hold that check to the lighter's flame. The $25 million inheritance from Mom's estate curling into black whispers of smoke right there in the marble-floored foyer of our Greenwich estate. "You're unhinged, Hannah," he sneered, his voice dripping with the kind of Ivy League condescension that had crushed me my whole life. Delusional enough to think I'd hand over a dime to a junkie whore who faked her own death. But he didn't know the half of it, because the woman staring back at him from the antique mirror wasn't his daughter. It was me, trapped in her skin, her veins still humming with the ghost of her addictions, plotting to burn his empire to the ground from the inside. What he called crazy was just the fracture line of a betrayal so deep it had rewritten my DNA, or swapped it, in a twist of black market science and desperate hubris that no jury in America would ever believe. I'd been Hannah for 3 months now, ever since Dr. Elias Crow, my father's shadowy biotech puppet, botched the procedure meant to cure his real daughter's spiral into oblivion. Crow had promised Dad a fresh start for his golden girl, swap her ravaged body with a donor's, wipe the slate clean. But the donor? That was me. Eliza Kane, the overlooked lab tech who'd discovered the tech, who'd loved Hannah like a sister until she framed me for embezzlement to cover her own debts. Now, in her body, I was the ghost in the machine, and revenge wasn't just a word. It was the only pulse keeping this stolen heart beating. The flames died on the check's remnants, scattering like confetti at a funeral nobody attended. Dad, Victor Hale, kingpin of Hale Pharmaceuticals, straightened his silk tie, oblivious to the predator he'd just unleashed. "Get out," he growled, "before I have security drag you back to whatever gutter you crawled from." I stumbled out into the drizzling Connecticut night, the chill seeping through Hannah's threadbare coat. But inside, Eliza's fire roared. He'd taken everything from me once, now, in his daughter's skin, I'd take it all back. And, oh, the secrets I'd unearth along the way, the ones that would make that burned check look like pocket change. The rain-slicked driveway of the Hale estate stretched like a black vein under the sodium glow of the carriage lights. And I slipped behind the wheel of Hannah's beat-up Honda Civic, repossessed twice but still clinging to life like its owner once had. My hands, these delicate, manicured ones that weren't mine, trembled on the steering wheel as I punched in the address for the only safe house I knew, a dingy motel off I-95 in Bridgeport, where lowlifes and liars like me could vanish for a night. But vanishing wasn't the plan. Not anymore. The body swap had been Hannah's Hail Mary, brokered through Crow's underground clinic in a derelict warehouse on the edge of Stamford. She'd needed it bad, her liver pickled from years of oxy and fentanyl. Her trust fund hemorrhaged on bad boyfriends and worse bets. And me? I'd been the perfect mark, the quiet assistant in Crow's lab, the one who'd stumbled onto the neural mapping tech during a late-night debug. Consciousness transference, Crow had called it, like it was just another FDA trial. But it was Frankenstein shit. Black-budget experiments funded by Hale Pharma to keep their heiress viable for the boardroom, not the morgue. I'd confronted Hannah about it 6 months ago. In the sterile break room of that warehouse lab, steam rising from our styrofoam coffees like unspoken accusations. "You're stealing someone's life," I'd whispered, my voice cracking under the weight of our fractured friendship. We'd grown up together, me, the scholarship kid from Queens bunking at their summer house in the Hamptons, her, the porcelain doll with a void where a soul should be. She'd laughed. That tinkling, hollow sound that always masked the panic. "Eliza, honey, it's not stealing if they sign the waiver. And you're the one who coded the damn thing. You're in or you're out." Out meant silence. Paid off with a severance that vanished when she accused me of skimming lab funds to feed my gambling habit, a lie so brazen it got me fired, blackballed, and drowning in Queen's rent. I'd signed the donor papers in a haze of rage and red wine, thinking it'd end me clean. Wake up in oblivion. Let Hannah wake up in my sturdy, unscarred shell. But Crow fucked it up. The neural sync glitched mid-transfer, something about incompatible engrams. He later confessed in a whiskey-slurred voicemail I deleted but memorized. Hannah's essence fragmented, scattering like digital shrapnel into the ether. What emerged in my body was a vegetable, comatose in a hidden ICU bed, while Eliza, woke up screaming in hers, the monitors beeping like accusatory heartbeats. The first thing I saw was Crow's pinched face, his wire-rimmed glasses fogged with sweat. "It's you," he'd stammered. "Not her. Jesus. Hale's gonna kill me." And he was right. Victor Hale, with his Rolodex of senators and his private jet to Davos, didn't tolerate loose ends. But Crow? He was deeper in the mud than I knew, a former psych resident who'd lost his license after experimental therapies on foster kids. Now Hale's pet mad scientist, cooking up designer drugs and consciousness hacks to keep the pharma empire's skeletons buried. I ditched the Civic in the motel's lot, the engine coughing like a death rattle, and checked in under Hannah's name. Ironic, since that's who I was pretending not to be. Room 17 smelled of mildew and regret, the kind of place where dreams went to die under flickering fluorescence. I locked the door, double-bolted it, and collapsed onto the sagging bed, staring at the water-stained ceiling as if it held the map to my revenge. Step 1. Expose Crow. He was the linchpin, the one who'd greenlit the swap knowing the risks. But Hale? He was the architect, the one who'd whispered in Hannah's ear that I was expendable collateral for her salvation. The check he'd burned? That was Mom's life insurance, earmarked for Hannah's treatment, but he'd rerouted it to offshore accounts the second she flatlined on the table. $25 million. Poof, gone to fund Hale Pharma's next dirty secret, a street-grade opioid analog that had hooked half of Fairfield County. My phone buzzed. Hannah's phone, pink-cased and cracked from one too many drops. A text from Daddy. "Don't come back until you're clean." Or "Don't come back at all." I laughed, a bitter, foreign sound in this throat that wasn't mine, and deleted it. Clean? If only he knew the detox I'd endured these past weeks, purging her system's poisons while my mind clawed for control. Nightmares of my old body, strong, freckled, mine strapped to machines, while this fragile vessel rebelled with cramps and cravings. But pain was clarity. It sharpened the edges of the plan forming in my head: infiltrate Hale Pharma from the inside, using Hannah's credentials to access the servers, leak the swap files, the opioid trials, everything. Make them pay, not with money, but with the only currency that mattered in America: reputation, shredded on the altar of public outrage. Sleep came in fits, haunted by echoes of the procedure, the hum of the MRI coil, the bite of the 4, Crow's voice droning, sinking engrams. 80%. I'd signed the waiver blind, fueled by betrayal. But now I was the waiver, the fine print come to life. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving, the motel's thin curtains doing nothing to blunt the light. I showered in scalding water, scrubbing at skin that itched with wrongness, and dressed in Hannah's thrift store jeans and a faded Yale hoodie, irony again, since she'd flunked out while I aced the community college circuits. By 8 a.m., I was back on I-95, heading north to Stanford, heart pounding like a war drum. Crow's clinic was a ghost of itself during business hours. Facade as a holistic wellness center, but I knew the back entrance code, 4-7-2-9. Hannah's birthday twisted into a lockpick. The alley reeked of dumpster rot and chemical runoff, the door's keypad glowing faintly under my touch.
Click. Inside.
The corridor was a vein of flickering LEDs, leading to the sub-basement where the real work happened. My heels, Hannah's scuffed pumps, echoed too loud, but adrenaline drowned the fear. The Crow's office door hung ajar. The man himself hunched over a laptop, his balding pate gleaming under the desk lamp. Hannah. He bolted up, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. What the hell are you doing here? Your father said. Shut up. Elias. The name tasted like venom on my tongue, Hannah's voice pitching and high and accusatory. He froze, eyes darting to the security feed on his screen, empty corridors.
For now.
It's not Hannah. It's me. Eliza. The words hung heavy, the air thickening with the unsaid, the glitch, the swap, the lie we'd all bought into. His face crumpled, a mask of professional detachment cracking into raw terror. Impossible. The logs show. I lunged, slamming the door shut behind me, my borrowed hands surprisingly strong in their desperation. The logs show what you doctored them to show. A clean transfer. Donor deceased. But I'm breathing. Elias. In her skin. While your success rots upstairs. He backed into the desk, knocking over a vial rack that shattered like brittle bones. Hail will bury us both, he whispered. But there was a flicker. Guilt? Greed? What do you want? Everything. I snatched his laptop. The password Hannah had once mocked him for. Freud sucks 69. Files bloomed on the screen. Patient dossiers. Encrypted ledgers tracing Hale Pharma's slush funds to Crow's innovations. Opioid derivatives funneled through shell clinics. Test subjects, homeless vets. Desperate addicts, listed as DOA after trials. And there, buried in a subfolder labeled Project Echo, the swap schematics. Neural maps with my engrams overlaid on Hannah's. The glitch annotated in red. Fragmentation event. Primary consciousness dominant in secondary vessel.
Me?
The primary. Hannah. Lost to the void. You framed me, I hissed, scrolling faster. The cursor a guillotine. Told her I was skimming to cover your ass on the budget overruns. And Hale? He knew. Signed off on it all. Crow's lips moved soundlessly. A prayer or a plea? But I was beyond mercy. Give me access to the Hale servers. Full admin. Or I upload this to WikiLeaks tonight, your license revocation will look like a parking ticket. He slumped, defeated. Fingers flying over keys to forge a backdoor. It's suicide. Eliza. Victor's got layers, firewalls. NDAs. Hitmen disguised as lawyers. But he typed anyway. The access code materializing, Viper 25M. Fitting. The snake and the stolen millions. As the transfer completed, a siren wailed faintly upstairs. Security ping? I pocketed the drive I'd yanked from his machine and bolted, the corridor blurring into a gauntlet. Footsteps thundered behind. But I was out the alley, into the Civic, tires screeching onto the highway before they could tail me. Back in the motel that night, drive plugged into Hannah's laptop. The Hale Pharma vault cracked open like a rotten egg. Emails between Dad and Crow, expend the tech. She's collateral. Trial data fudged. Deaths reclassified as overdoses unrelated to product. And Hannah's file, subject H1, viable post-transfer. Donor Ike, terminated per protocol. Lies upon lies. A house of cards built on my erasure. But the deepest cut? A memo from Victor himself. Dated the day after the swap. Confirmed termination of Ike. Vessel. No traces. They'd planned to kill my body. Unplug it like a faulty appliance. Once they thought the transfer stuck. Rage boiled. Hot and American. The kind that fueled manifestos and midnight runs to Walmart for duct tape and despair. I drafted the leak. Anonymized dumps to journalists at The Intercept. Timed for maximum carnage. But as I hit send, a call lit the screen. Unknown. I answered. Voice steady. Hail residence. Who's this? Eliza? Victor's timbre. Silk over steel. Or should I say, whatever's left of you in my daughter's shell.
Come home.
We can fix this. Another procedure, clean this time. A pause. Loaded with the weight of his power. Or I pull the plug on the donor body. Your body. Still breathing. Last I checked, the line went dead, leaving me in the dark with the hum of the AC and the echo of his threat. Checkmate? Not yet. I'd walk into the viper's nest, but on my terms. Controversial? Hell. It'd be legendary, the lab rat turning on the hand that fed, the swapped soul crashing the family reunion with a server full of sins. And as the first leaks hit the wires, pinging alerts on my phone, I smiled Hannah's smile, sharp as a switchblade. The burn of that check was just foreplay. The Hale estate loomed like a gothic fever dream under the storm clouds rolling in from Long Island Sound, its turrets piercing the sky like accusatory fingers. I pulled the Civic into the service drive this time, away from the manicured facade, gravel crunching under tires that had seen better days. Victor's call had been a gauntlet thrown, come or watch me die, but I'd laced it with my own poison, a second wave of leaks. This one tagged with timestamps proving Hale Pharma's opioid pipeline straight to street dealers in the Bronx. By now, the board was scrambling, stock tickers dipping like stones in the Hudson, and the feds, they'd be circling soon. Subpoenas hot off the press. But family came first, or so the American myth went. I'd play the prodigal, then twist the knife. The back door clicked open with Hannah's key fob. The kitchen a cavern of granite and stainless steel. Empty save for the hum of the Sub-Zero fridge stocked with kale smoothies and single malt regrets. Footsteps echoed from the hall. Victor. Flanked by his shadow. Marcus. The ex-Marine turned family advisor, with a Glock bulge under his Armani jacket. Hannah, Victor said. Voice of velvet noose. Or Eliza, if you prefer theatrics. Sit. He gestured to the island bar. 3 fingers of scotch already poured in crystal tumblers. Marcus loomed, arms crossed. The kind of bulk that screamed black ops in forgotten wars. I slid onto the stool. Legs crossed like I owned the place. Hannah's poise. Eliza's steel. Theatrics? That's rich. Coming from the man who just torched Mom's legacy because his junkie princess couldn't hack it. The words landed like slaps. His face tightening. The lines around his eyes deepening into canyons of barely leashed fury. He sipped. Slow. The ice clinking like handcuffs. You think those leaks hurt? Child's play. I've got lobbyists who make scandals disappear faster than a bad quarterly report. But his eyes flicked to the tablet on the counter. CNBC ticker scrolling red. Hale Pharma plunges 15% on alleged cover-up. Marcus shifted. hand twitching toward his hip, but Victor waved him off. Let's talk fix. Crow says the glitch is reversible. Map you back.
Euthanize this.
Hybrid.
Clean break.
And your body's waiting. Eliza. Intubated. But viable. Sign off. And it's yours again. With a bonus. 7 figures. Wired clean. The offer hung. Temptation wrapped in barbed wire. The allure of normalcy. My freckles. My stride. In exchange for silence. But 7 figures? Pocket lit next to the empire he'd built on bones. I laughed. Low and unhinged. The sound echoing off the copper pots. Reversible? Like the opioid trials you buried? Or the foster kids Crow treated in his basement days? I dug deeper in the drive files. Crow's psych rap sheet. Sealed but crackable with a TOR browser and spite. Experimental aversion therapy on runaways. Funded by early Hale grants. You knew. Victor. Sign the checks. And Hannah? She wasn't just addicted. She was your lab rat from the start. Project Echo started when she was 12. Microdoses to enhance focus for prep school. That's what fried her wiring. Made her chase highs to fill the void you carved. His glass paused midair. Scotch sloshing like blood in a vial. Marcus tensed. But Victor recovered. That boardroom mask sliding back. Speculation. And irrelevant. You're in over your head. Girl. Am I? I pulled the burner phone from my pocket, thumb hovering over the final trigger, a live feed to a PI I'd hired with Hannah's last credit card gasp. Parked outside a discreet facility in White Plains. Say the word. And your hit on my body goes viral. Nurses' affidavits. CCTV of the accidental overdose attempt last week. Or we go nuclear, the swap logs. Timestamped. With your approval email. Prioritize asset recovery. Hail legacy over donor ethics. Poetic. Isn't it? The man who preached family values at the Aspen Institute, trading souls like stock options. The kitchen fell silent, save for the distant rumble of thunder. Victor's eyes, ice blue. Predatory, narrowed, calculating odds like a poker pro at the win. He'd built Hale Pharma from a garage startup to a $40 billion behemoth on ruthless bets, patent trolls, ghost-written studies, politicians in pockets deeper than Mar-a-Lago donors. But this? A swapped daughter turned whistleblower, holding his mortality in a SIM card. What do you really want? He murmured, the fight leaching out like air from a punctured tire. Justice. The word tasted foreign, too pure for the rot we'd all wallowed in. Shut down Echo. Pull the opioids. And the $25 million? Reinstate it, in Mom's name, to a trust for addiction recovery. Or I walk out that door, and the world sees Victor Hale for the monster he is. Controversial? Damn right. Mercy for the man who'd erased me, dressed up as corporate penance. But revenge wasn't just destruction, it was reshaping the ruins into something that stung eternal. He drained his glass, setting it down with deliberate calm.
Done.
Marcus. Draw up the papers. The fixer nodded, retreating to the study. But I caught the glint in Victor's eye, wolfish. Unyielding. Trust a Hale? About as wise as skinny dipping in the East River. We talked terms for an hour. The storm breaking overhead, rain lashing the French doors like Judgment Day. He'd agree. Sign. Then sabotage. Classic Victor. The long con. But I'd anticipated. The PI wasn't just watching, he had a team. Ex-cops turned hackers. Ready to flood the net if my vitals flatlined. By midnight, the documents were inked, Victor's signature a flourish of feigned humility. "Welcome home, Hannah," he said, the lie slick as oil, as Marcus escorted me to the East Wing guest suite. Hannah's old room, untouched, canopy bed, walls papered in faded florals, a shrine to the girl who'd never grown up. I locked the door, the click a small victory, and synced the burner to the estate's Wi-Fi. One last upload. Insurance. The full Echo dossier to a dead man's switch. Time to drop if I didn't check in by dawn. Sleep evaded me. The bed too soft. The sheets scented with lavender, Hannah's signature. A cloying reminder of the ghost between us. What was left of her? Fragments. Maybe cravings that hit like seizures. Whispers and dreams of beach bonfires and stolen lip gloss. I'd hated her once. For the betrayal. The ease of her privilege.
But now,
wearing her scars, I pitied the shell we'd both cracked. Victor's footsteps paced the hall past midnight. A predator's prowl. And I clutched the burner like a talisman, counting heartbeats in this borrowed cage. Dawn crept in salmon-streaked, the estate stirring with the grind of espresso machines and murmured calls to crisis PR. I dressed in Hannah's silk blouse and slacks, tailored armor, and descended to the breakfast nook, where Victor nursed black coffee. The Wall Street Journal folded to a damning headline, Pharma Giant Faces Reckoning. Whistleblower alleges deadly cover-up. He glanced up, expression a masterclass in paternal concern. Rough night? Crow's team arrives at noon. The reversal starts now. I slid into the seat opposite, poaching an egg from the spread like it was my birthright. Marcus hovered at the periphery, phone to ear, coordinating the wellness retreat cover for the procedure. But as Victor's gaze lingered, probing, I saw the fracture, doubt, the first chink in his armor. He'd always seen Hannah as extension, Hale 2.0, groomed to inherit the throne. Me? I was the glitch, the variable he couldn't model. Noon brought the blacked-out SUV, a Crow tumbling out like a disheveled professor, his briefcase stuffed with portables, neural scanners, for rigs, a laptop humming with forbidden code. We reconvened in the estate's panic room, reinforced bunker beneath the wine cellar, shielded from signals and scrutiny. Stable environment, Crow muttered, avoiding my eyes as he calibrated the gear. Victor watched from the corner, arms folded, the scotch from last night lingering on his breath. Make it quick, Elias. And clean. The setup mirrored the nightmare, restraints on the gurney, electrodes kissing temples, the hum building to a whine. Crow swabbed my, Hannah's, arm. The needles prick a familiar betrayal. Sedative first, he said. Voice clinical. Then sync. Your engrams to the donor vessel. Residuals purged. Residuals. Hannah's ghost. The slivers I'd felt in quiet moments, a sudden aversion to kale. A phantom itch for Vicodin. What if purging meant killing her for good? The thought twisted. Controversial even in my vengeful heart. Was I avenging a friend or executing a rival? As the drip flowed, cold fire in my veins, Victor stepped forward, his shadow eclipsing the monitors. For what it's worth, Eliza, I didn't want this.
Hannah,
she begged. Said you owed her. After the money, the lie, half-baked, but it landed, stirring the pot of our tangled history. Owed her? For the summers she'd shared her world, only to burn mine down, the room blurred, the sedative pulling like undertow, but I locked eyes with him. Liar, I slurred, the word a gauntlet of my own. You built this. Enjoy the fall. Darkness swallowed. The hum crescendoing to oblivion. But in the void, a spark, not Hannah's, not mine, but something forged, the will to twist the knife one last time. I woke to the sterile beep of monitors. Not in the panic room, but a sun-drenched recovery ward. The kind with ocean views and valet parking, Hale's private clinic in the Hamptons, where celebrities detoxed and CEOs hid affairs. My body felt leaden, pins and needles firing like New Year's fireworks. But it was mine, calloused palms from lab benches, the faint scar on my knee from a Queen's curb dive. Eliza Kane, resurrected. The reversal had worked. Crow's glitch patched with brute force overrides. Hannah's fragments shunted to digital purgatory. Or so the chart claimed. Clipped to the bedrail. Transfer complete. Primary consciousness restored. Secondary vessel, non-viable. Non-viable. The euphemism hit like a gut punch. Hannah gone. Truly. Her essence deleted like a bad draft. Grief flickered. Unbidden. For the girl who'd been monster and mirror. But I quashed it. Revenge first. Remorse later. The door swung open. Victor silhouetted against the hall light. A bouquet of lilies in hand like a prop from a bad rom-com. Eliza, he said, voice pitched to concerned patriarch. You're back.
Looking.
Yourself. He set the flowers down, eyes scanning for tells, the wrong blink, the off-kilter smile. I sat up, for tugged free with a wince, the monitors protesting in shrill symphony. Cut the act.
Victor.
Where's Crow? His absence was a screaming void, the man who'd botched us both. Vanished mid-procedure? Suspicious didn't cover it. Victor's smile thinned. A razor edge. Complications. Heart gave out under stress. Yours?
Technically.
Tragic. But these things happen in experimental work. Bullshit. Crow's heart was a pacemaker and spite. He'd outlived worse scandals. But proof? I'd need access. Leverage. The kind that didn't evaporate with a signature. We drove back to the estate in his Bentley, Marcus at the wheel. Silent as a confessor. The coastal road a blur of dunes and McMansions. The radio droning NPR scandals that danced around Hale Pharma without naming it. Victor played the long game. Steering conversation to neutral, the market's rebound. A gala for addiction awareness he'd donated, the reinstated $25 million toward.
See?
We're turning the page. You walk away whole, body, bank account. No hard feelings. The check. Metaphorically unburned. Wired that morning. 7 figures. Clean as a whistle. American dream closure. Gift wrapped. But closure? That was for Hallmark cards. Not houses built on hemlock. At the estate, I excused myself to rest, locking the door to Hannah's room, now a mausoleum of unpacked boxes and dust-ruffled teddies. Under the floorboard, where she'd hidden her stash, I found my burner. Battery low but alive. Text from the PI, Crow spotted, Stamford Docks. Argued with M. Hale pre-dawn. Vanished after. Argued. Vanished. The pieces slotted, loose and tied. Marcus's specialty. I needed eyes. Proof, something to flip the script on Victor's magnanimous farce. Night fell heavy. The estate a pressure cooker of unspoken threats. Dinner was a farce, seared scallops and small talk. Victor probing my recovery, while Marcus refilled wines with watchful eyes. You seem unsettled, Victor noted. fork poised over arugula like a conductor's baton. The procedure takes time. Residuals. He meant Hannah's echoes. The controversial mercy kill I'd signed off on in the haze. But unsettled? That was me, scenting blood in the water. Post-meal, I slipped out the French doors. The estate's grounds a labyrinth of topiaries and floodlit lawns patrolled by motion sensors. The guest cottage, Crow's crash pad during consults, lurked at the property's edge. Dark but unlocked. Inside, the air hung thick with ozone and regret. Overturned desk. Blood-specked carpet. Faint. Arterial. A laptop smashed beyond salvage. But in the safe, combo Hannah's pin. 0108 for her debutante ball. I found gold. A thumb drive labeled Echo Backup. Plugged into my phone. Files cascaded. Unredacted memos. Video of the procedure. Me screaming in Hannah's body. Crow's panic. Victor's nod to proceed at all costs. And the crown jewel. An audio log. Timestamped 3 a.m. that day. Crow's voice. Ragged. Victor. It's fraying. The engrams are merging. Not separating. She's becoming something new. We can't just cut off by a scuffle. Marcus's gravel timbre. Boss says clean it up. A thud. Wet and final. Murder. Captured in mono. The kind that tanked empires and filled court dockets from here to The Hague. I pocketed the drive, heart slamming like a bass drop at a trap concert, and ghosted back to the house. Victor waited in the study, fire crackling in the grate, a decanter half empty. Can't sleep, he drawled, swirling brandy. Join the club. The room was a shrine to his reign, framed Forbes covers. A signed photo with a pre-indictment pharma bro. I perched on the leather Chesterfield, casual as a cat burglar. Elias, I said.
Testing.
What really happened?
He sighed.
Theatrical. Overdose. They think. The stress, your swap. The leaks. Man was brittle.
Lies.
But his eyes betrayed the flicker. Fear. The predator sensing a bigger beast. I leaned in, voice dropping to conspiracy hush. Brittle? Or buried? I found the cottage. The safe. His glass paused, brandy sloshing, and in that beat, I hit play on the burner. Tinny audio filling the room. We can't just, the thud echoed.
Damning.
Victor's face drained to ash. The king unthroned. You don't understand, he whispered, rising like a man facing the gallows. It was mercy. For her. Hannah was gone, your mind overriding, turning her into
you.
A monster in my daughter's skin. Monster? The word ignited. Controversial fire. Was I the villain? The interloper who'd hijacked a life? Or was he the father who'd sacrificed pawns for pawns? Mercy? I spat, standing to match him. Like the kid's crow broke? The addicts you hooked? This ends now, cops. Feds. The works. He lunged, not for the drive, but the poker from the hearth. Swinging wild. Eyes feral. No. The blow glanced my shoulder. Fire blooming hot. But I dodged. Adrenaline a live wire. Marcus burst in, drawn by the scuffle. But I was faster, burner hiked, live streaming to the PI's server. The dead man switch-armed. Back off. I snarled. Poker snatched in my grip. The room a tableau of domestic Armageddon. Father versus phantom. Legacy versus truth. Victor froze. Poker trembling. The fight bleeding out as sirens wailed distant. The PI's call. or a neighbor's alarm. Please, he begged, the word alien on his tongue. The company, thousands of jobs. Our name. Our? The presumption cracked me open. Laughter bubbling dark and un-American. Your name dies tonight. But Hannah's? She lives in the fund. The reforms.
You?
Rotten orange. Like the kingpin you are. The twist hit as cuffs clicked later that night. Victor in the squad car. Me giving statements under Klieg lights. The swap. The murder. The empire's rot. But in the chaos. A final leak from the drive, not mine, but Hannah's ghost? A hidden file. Video from her phone. Pre-procedure. Her confession. Tear-streaked in a Hamptons bathroom. Eliza. I'm sorry, the money. The frame. Dad made me. But the swap? It's suicide. For both of us. Forgive me. Forgiven? Too late. But the reversal burned. She'd known the risks. Chosen the abyss to escape him. Not victim. Not villain, just broken. Like the check he'd burned. The ending? Debatable as a jury poll. Hale Pharma crumbled. Assets seized. The $25 million trust blooming into clinics that saved more than they damned. Victor? Life in Supermax. Penning memoirs no one reads.
Me?
Eliza Kane. Whole again. But haunted. Whispers of her laugh in quiet nights. The controversial mercy of letting go. Last laugh?
Fine.
Etched in indictments and second chances. But in America's funhouse mirror, who really wins?